Hey guys, Michael Levine here. Today we're going to talk about pre-booking. Now, if you've been following my videos, you'll kind of say to yourself, man, this guy just talks about the really obvious stuff. And, you know, I am talking about the really obvious stuff because being a successful hairdresser is about doing the basic behavior really well. And, you know, it's funny. Sometimes I'll teach a session on this kind of stuff and somebody will come up to me and say, well, what else can I do? And it's like, there is no what else you can do. Just do all this other stuff, do the basic things correctly, and you'll be fine. But people are always looking for more. There isn't that much more to be a successful hairdresser. So who knows, maybe I've run out of content after this video. But we're going to talk about pre-booking. Now, firstly, when it comes to pre-booking behavior, and just like in the other video about retailing and that kind of stuff, we have to assume that you've already hit a home run with your service. The client loves you and you've done great work and you've totally impressed them and you've connected personally. If you haven't done those things, there's no possible way you can ask for a pre-book or a referral or a retail sale. You can't simply, you know, perform at a super mediocre level and not connect with the person and then walk them up to the desk and say, did you want to book your next appointment? I mean, that you're personally going to feel sick about doing that, and that's because you haven't earned the ability to ask for those things. So when I'm talking about pre-booking, let's just assume that you've already kicked ass. So if I'm doing a haircut, you know, and let's say I'm doing something long that doesn't necessarily need that 5-6 weeks of maintenance, I might say to my client, it's like, I'm going to need to see you in 8 weeks to get this, you know, to maintain this thing. I'm going to need to see you in 8 weeks to maintain your hair. And then I'll get back onto talking about whatever it is that the client, you know, whatever's going on in the client's life. You know, if I'm doing maybe a little angled kind of number or something really, really precise, then I might say, you know, I'm going to need to see you in 6 weeks. Even if you're doing, say, a really blunt, perfect bang, you might want to say to your client, you know, I believe in maintaining as opposed to cutting your bangs too short and then they grow into it. So I'm going to want to see you in 2 weeks to get your bangs trimmed. And don't worry, it's free. Hopefully you do free bang trims for your clients. If it's a gray coverage, I'm going to need to see you in 4 weeks in order to maintain the illusion and then get back to the conversation. It's just about planting the seeds for pre-booking. And then you get back to what it's about. Because let's face it, all of that kind of pitchy behavior is really no fun. So you just want to say it at the right time, sort of with our retail video. When you're using the product is when you mention it. That's it. And then you get back to other stuff. So same thing with pre-booking. Then, now here's the really important part. When you're walking your client up to the desk, you don't shoot yourself in the foot by asking for the pre-book. You don't simply say, would you like to book your next appointment, or did you want to wait and look at your calendar? Because very often we kind of kill any potential by saying or. We do this with retail. I'm going to talk retail for 1 second too. Did you want to buy that bottle of shampoo? Or did you want to see what was under your sink? Or did you want to see what you had at home? We don't say the or thing. We just simply tell people what it is that they need to do. And then let them make their decision, no pressure. I'll walk my client up to the desk and I'll just simply say to the receptionist, I'm going to need to see her in 6 weeks for a cut. And because I usually was, before I retired, I was booking, you know, 6 months to a year in advance. I would say I'm going to need to see her in 6 weeks for a cut and 12 weeks for a cut and highlight. And then you just simply tell the reception desk that that's what needs to happen. You give your client a hug and then you split. Now is the best time to be having these pre-book conversations if you've not been pre-booking, if you've not started this behavior, because it's super weird. We're in mid-August right now, but you've got to start thinking about your Christmas appointments. And it's a really, really good opportunity for us as hairdressers because traditionally December is a great month for us as clients want to have their hair done for Christmas parties or, you know, even just for family photos. They want to be going into Christmas vacation with fresh roots. So here's a little bit of scripting with this. Just simply say to your clients, particularly your color clients, it's much easier to pre-book color clients than cutting clients. And you just simply say, hey, this is going to sound kind of crazy to be talking about this now that we're in the middle of a, you know, a heat wave, but we got to think about your Christmas appointment. You got your Christmas party coming, and as you know, I always get really, really busy, and a lot of my clients are booking their Christmas visits now, and I want to make sure that, you know, I want to make sure you get in. Tell that to your client. And again, all you can do is just give them the information and then let them make their decisions. But if you tell that to every single client, get into the habit of saying this to everybody, you will start to get pre-books happening because of Christmas, because your clients have, you know, if they're adults, they have struggled at some point in their lives trying to find an appointment in December with a hairdresser, whether it was you or somebody else. Another really easy one is if you're going on vacation somewhere, you want to tell people, you know, 8 weeks in advance and start thinking about, or 10 weeks in advance and start thinking about pre-booking. So you really, if you've not been pre-booking, there are certain catalysts that will allow you to get into that behavior. And Christmas is a good one. Vacations are another really, really good one. So now, understand this. When your client goes to the desk, there's a very, very good likelihood that they're not going to pre-book. And that is okay, because all you can do, as I said, is just plant the seed. You've told them, and whether they do it or not is up to them. Now, the next time they come back, if they had a hard time getting in because you've been doing this pre-booking behavior on every single client now 8 times a day, and you've been doing it with everybody, some people are going to start to do it. Most won't, but some will. Then when your client comes back, she's going to say, wow, you know, I tried to get in with you. I had to wait like 2 weeks, more longer than I needed, and I was getting a bit desperate. And that's where you say to her, I know, that's why I talked to you about booking your next appointment the last time you were in. I'm getting busier, and I want to make sure my favorite clients get in. And again, this is all truth. This comes from a sincere place. If she's not one of your favorite clients, don't say this to her. You know, you can skip the favorite client part, but just say, I wanted to make sure you could get in. Hopefully she's going to book her next pre-book because now she's had a negative experience trying to get in with you. Let's just say now you're booked 4 months in advance, solid. Nobody can get near you. What you've done is you've created demand for yourself. You're basically untouchable. New clients cannot get near you. And that's a really, really cool thing. Now, some hairdressers will think about not taking new clients at this point because they're just simply, they don't have the capacity, they're full, they don't want to take new clients because there's no room for them. But understand, your journey as a hairdresser never ends. As soon as you stop taking new clients, you've ended your journey. Like, that's it. You've plateaued, you've maxed. And that doesn't make any sense to me. There's no business in their right mind would stop taking new clients. So what you need to do here is understand that you've created such demand for yourself that when demand exceeds supply in economics, the price goes up. And you get to raise your prices. And this is where a hairdresser can start the journey to becoming $100 or $200 or $300, maybe even a $500 hair cutter, depending on where you live. And this is the great thing about pre-booking, is it allows you to start controlling the price of what you're doing. And you will lose a few clients here. And by the way, I don't recommend taking the client that's been with you since you were $50 and charging her $200. I don't believe in punishing the people who helped you get there. But I do believe in a yearly price increase that might be as high as, say you're $50, next year you got to be $60, the following year $70. Increase your price by $10 each year. Maybe if you're a $100 hair cutter, maybe you increase it by $20. The faster you can get pre-booked fully in advance, the more control you have over your pricing. And that's really the value of pre-booking that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. So if you want to have an amazing income and an amazing career through hairdressing, I should touch on this really, really quickly. When you raise your prices, you generally raise your service standard. If you're not raising your service standard to go with your pricing, then you are a sociopath. But for me, I felt really, really guilty when I went to $100 for a haircut. And you better believe my service standard went up. And that's went up for everybody, whether it was my old clients at 70 or my new clients at 100. When I went up to $250, understand that in order for somebody to see value at $250 for a haircut, you have to give them $500 worth of service. I know for me, I evolved so much when I raised my prices as a hairdresser that it's a really empowering thing. It made me feel differently about myself, and that's super, super powerful as well in career fulfillment. So this was a really, really long video. I think I had a lot of points to get across. If you stuck with it, I appreciate it. Christmas is coming. Pre-book your clients, and I promise you, if you do this with each and every person, within a year, you will see a massive increase in your income and the way you view yourself as a hairdresser. Have a great day, and happy pre-booking.